GameSir makes some of the coolest designs as they are in partnership with Marvel. That's why you'll have great controllers from them like the G8 Plus Thanos Edition or the G7HE Iron Man Edition. But today we're going anti-hero and we're looking at Deadpool. Not only do I love the character, I love the look of this controller, so we're gonna unpack it. But before we do, I already reviewed the X3 Pro. I actually have 2 videos about this controller. I'll have more of a broad stroke approach with this one, really focus on just enjoying the product rather than going into a deep dive. But if that's what you're looking for after watching this one, make sure to bookmark my other 2 videos where you'll get all that type of data. The box, it's a little banged up, sorry for that. Details about the company, specs about the product itself, and then the back of the box. We have a nice braided USB-C to USB-C cable, a quality control sticker, a GameSir sticker, their thank you brochure, and then here a pretty extensive manual. Oh, it's actually embedded. Nice. Marvel tag here. The difference with the original one, what they both look like. They both have a GameSir branded zipper cover. One detail that I really like with the original, the zipper, is the color scheme. Let's see if it is the case here. Yep, they continued that by having a nice red zipper, slightly see-through. Ho ho ho. Nice velvety inside. I'm loving this red, kind of a earthy red, looks so good in person. You see these? You feel it a little bit, which makes this sensation different than the one that we have in the original, because as much as I like the grip, it's a very slippery, very soft plastic. That texture here gives it just enough that it's a lot more pleasant and a lot more grippy. It doesn't feel rubbery at all. It's just very, very minute, very subtle in terms of texture, but it's there. I don't know if it's gonna, like, if you see the light reflect on it, there's just a little bit of texture to them. Now, all the same, we have a USB-C here. We have our 3.5mm jack, and those grip here can actually be removed. That does not feel different. Of course, the color is not the same, but I'd say, like, if you're used to the X3 Pro with just the covers off, that's exactly the same feel. I only use this controller with the grips, and it's going to be the same case here with the Deadpool one, but it's actually just different enough that I like this better. Personally, I'm more of a concave kind of stick guy. I'm going to swap those because, as you can see here, they offer some swappable ones. I don't really like the small flat ones. I prefer the bigger ones that are concave. By the way, you have a metal ring around them, but you also have an anti-skid around the stick itself, which, by the way, you can remove the anti-skid. So if you want to extend your gate, that's something you can do. Not necessarily something I suggest, but because, you know, that could leave an opening for dust. But if you wanted to do that, it actually does come off, just like most other anti-skid rings that you find on GameSir controllers, but it's not the same size. So if you buy the colored pack, it won't fit this controller, but if you wanted to remove it, you could do that. You have a USB-C that can pivot. It doesn't come out a whole lot, so you absolutely have to use it with a device that does not have a case, and having a case would defeat the purpose. I once thought, because there are cases that are supposed to absorb the heat from the phone, and I found out after some research that apparently it's more of a marketing scheme than actual effectiveness. I actually like the umbrella logo D-pad a bit more, and you can change it, and you have some nice micro switch action with the D-pad. I really enjoy the feel of it. We want to remove the sticker before putting our phones. And one thing that caught me off guard the first time I used this controller is the pad that you have behind. Oh, and the Deadpool logo still remains. Oh, that is awesome. I thought it was on the sticker. Nice. Whenever you touch this, immediately, like, you can tell that it's cool. And once you have the fan running, it's just completely out of this world cool. It's really actually cold. I'm gonna put this aside. Very nice looking case. Let's have one last good look at it. Oh, let me just put the sticks back where they belong. Looking very, very nice indeed. This works both with iPhones and Android, and it'll work with something as big as the Razer Edge, which I have here. That's not what we're going to be using for our tests and everything, but just to show you, it does fit the Razer Edge. It wouldn't fit something like the Y700 tablets. And also, I find, just so you know, the Razer Edge tends to pop. So it's not really a device I like using with this controller, but just so you know, it does fit inside. And now this specific game does not have a native controller support. So, I mean, I could technically use it with that if I wanted, but that's not really the game for that. Really, the goal here is to show you just how effective the cooling can be. The only way that the cooling is going to work is if you have an external source of power. Those fans, they pull a lot of wattage and they pull a lot of amperage. Unfortunately, we're not able to use phones to power most of these fans. I have yet to see that. And I also would question the efficiency of the controller if we were to have this option, because if you have a controller that's trying to operate in the middle of a lot of wattage happening, I fear it could impact its latency and pulling rate and just the overall reliability. So the only way to get your fans going is by having an external source of power, is what I'm really trying to say here. I'm gonna have it run for about 5 minutes so that we can see what cooling looks like.
A few moments later.
As you can see here, we went from what, 85 to pretty much 69, 70 Celsius degrees. And that's been my testing from having the original X3 Pro. On average, you're gonna take anywhere between 15 to maybe 20 Celsius, which is pretty good and could be the difference from running into throttling versus not having it at all. In the software itself, there is an option to bypass charging. What does this mean? Right now, not only does it cool my phone, but it also charges my phone. It makes the battery get hotter. If I bypass charging, it won't charge the battery. Of course, when you do that, you're not going to be able to run 10 hours like that, because eventually the battery of your phone is just going to give out. But this is something that you can utilize in situations. Now, some phones have the feature on the phone itself. For example, the Red Magic has it. But if for some reason your phone does not have it, the GameSir app will also take care of you. Let me show you what it looks like. Now that we're in the app itself, of course, we can test our controllers, our buttons and everything. But what we want to do is click on the controller itself, and you'll notice that we have a bunch of different features. A radiator is where the magic happens. And then you have the charging mode. So you see here now it's activated. If I deactivate it and you pay attention to my battery meter, you'll notice that it stopped charging. And also that allows the fan to ramp up even faster. There's a lot more things that you can do. You can address your buttons, you can address your vibration, because it does have rumble, by the way. And one thing that I find is really cool, and something that we have very, very few controllers on the market that does this, is you can have the redirection of your gyro, because it does have gyro as well, to your sticks. For example, I put right stick and I put single click and I put yaw and roll. Whenever I'm gonna click on my button, it's gonna make my stick be active. You can address your curves. There's a lot of things that you can do. So let me show you what it looks like. Right now, there's nothing happening. If I move my stick, of course it does. And if I push LT, all of a sudden, it controls my stick. If you use GameSir's screen mapping software to play a game that does not usually support a controller, you're still able to use gyro to control your right stick or your left stick. It's such a cool feature to have. And it's unfortunate that we don't have more controllers that do have it, but GameSir is one of the extremely few that do. You have two modes on this controller. You have a mode that is efficient to listen to your audio and will work on Android, whereas you have a mode that is iPhone only, and on that mode specifically, the headphones does not work. And it reports as a PlayStation controller, so that'll work with your Remote Play app, which is a nice touch. And what you want to do to switch modes is you hold your select and start button, and you'll notice here that the LEDs are going to shift after a couple of seconds. And now it went blue. The white mode is the PS mode, whereas the blue mode is the HID mode. And that's the one that will work best with the headphone. It's a controller that looks the part. When it comes to competitive, you don't want heat throttling your phone. You want micro switch responsive buttons. And this is what you have everywhere. You also want something that'll keep your phone charged, and this is something you can do. It's such a beautiful looking product. It feels great, and now it's got this amazing theme to go along with it. I'm super happy to have reviewed it. Thank you very much, GameSir, for sending it my way. Thank you very much for clicking and watching the video. As always, if you have questions, make sure to let me know in the comment box. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like, and to not miss any future content, hit the subscribe with the bell. I'm Clef. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.